It's messy. There's some messy stuff up in here. Messy, okay? Hiya, and welcome back to another Reading Wednesday. It's your girl, Logan, also known as Sketchbooks and Book Books. And today I'm going to be reviewing a book that someone requested me to do. If I was more like, I should have looked up who it was. Someone in the comments. They requested me to read Bluebird and review it, and I finally finished it. I started it December last year, and I finally finished this bad boy. So here we are. This is the video I'm doing today, reviewing it, and I'm also going to be doing a new book review format, because like obviously, well not obviously, I don't know. But yeah, every time I've done a book review, I've done it in a pros and cons format. And that was because honestly, I didn't really know how to do a book review like on camera and how to like break it down. And I just thought that would be the easiest way to do it, you know, in detail and all that. But now I'm like, I feel like this new format may be a little better, so we're just gonna test it out and I'm gonna tell you how it goes. So I'm gonna start small and then get bigger. So we're gonna go with the characters and like, are they realistic? Were they relatable? Then we're gonna go into plot. You know, was it well executed? Was it the best way to illustrate the author's point? You know, then we're going to go. So it's characters, plots, and then themes of the book. You know, were those handled effectively, successfully? Did they help the book or did they hurt it? You know, how they were handled. And then after that, we're gonna go to takeaway, which is like my final thoughts on the book, what the author's intentions were when writing it, what I believe they were, and then like what I actually got after reading it. So that's going to be the new format, maybe, I don't know. I'm just going to do it this one time, and it was actually like, I make a review guide for all of these, like a little document just to like stay on point, because I can definitely get off track and say just, you know, I go on tangents regardless, but I always do like a review guide just to follow, and it was like harder to do. It was kind of like, it's like more in depth in a way, so yeah. But anyway, so we're going to get right into it. Bluebird by Attica Locke. Yeah, and this is how, so first I'll just do like a little synopsis, okay, that I wrote myself. Bluebird by Attica Locke is about, if I could speak. If I could speak though. Okay, so Bluebird by Attica Locke follows Black Texas Ranger Darren Matthews as he investigates 2 murders in a small Texas town named Lark. Okay, and then Darren seeks the truth behind the suspicious deaths of a black man passing through and a white woman who calls like home. Okay, and then all the while like facing racial pressure that's been brewing for years in the town of Lark. Okay, so that's kind of the synopsis. That's what it's about. It's a little mystery thing, little crime thriller. I don't really usually read those. I'm like, if I come across it, I'm like, it's just not my genre. I just don't care. I'm not a mystery person. But yeah, like I said, I was requested. And I was really honored by that. So I was like, I'm gonna do it. So I did. Anyway, so first let's start off with the characters, okay? So we have the main character, Darren Matthews. He's a Black Texas Ranger. That's already like, you know, that don't happen a lot, all right? And he was born and raised in East Texas, whatever. He calls it home. He loves like his state. Like I don't know, he loves the place. He loves his home and he feels a lot of loyalty to it. All right, now, was he realistic? Was he relatable? Yeah, I think so, pretty much. He was kind of, here's the thing with the characters. I feel like they're all a little bit cliche, a little bit like stereotypical, all right? But I didn't have a problem with that, because as long as you acknowledge that like there is a drop of truth in every stereotype in a way, you know? So it's like Darren Matthews, he's coming off of this incident that is having his badge in jeopardy, you know, like he might not be able to return as a Texas Ranger because of the situation with another white. It's a weird white supremacist situation where it was like this white dude was just terrorizing this black family or like harassing them, at least, not terrorizing, but harassing them, okay? And then this old black man kind of tried to defend himself, and the other dude goes up dead, and then they're trying to pin the white supremacist murder on the old black man, you know, and Darren, and that his involvement in that gets him in hot water. And then because of this stress, he starts drinking a lot. So, you know, you have this cliche of like this alcoholic law enforcement officer. Okay, so that's kind of like, okay. And then also he's like estranged kind of right now from his wife, Lisa, who doesn't really want him to be a ranger. She's like, it's too dangerous. I just want you home with me and you're gone all the time. Another cliche, okay. So I was like, But I did root for Darren. I really do like him. I liked him enough that today actually, like I picked up the sequel. So yeah, and I feel like they're on Goodreads. This is off topic, I'm sorry, but on Goodreads, like there's like 3 and 4 already kind of, they're not named, but it's like Attica plans to continue them, and it's gonna be called like Highway 59 is the name. So yeah, I mean, I picked up the second one already, so that kind of speaks to how much I like Darren and root for him. Like, I do want to follow him, and I liked how he investigated things, and like you could tell he really does care about being a Texas Ranger. He's like, I'm not a Texas Ranger just because it's cool, baby. Like, it is cool, but no, I'm about finding the truth, okay? I'm about justice. I don't care if it doesn't look good, if it doesn't sound good. I don't care if the country gets up and they, gets their panties in a bunch after the truth is uncovered, but it's the truth and I uncovered it. That's my job. And I was like, yeah, I like that. I can respect that, He's actively passionate. He's just really passionate about his job. And I like that. So yeah, he was relatable. He was realistic. I liked him. And then there's the other main character. There's like a few main characters, and then the supporting cast or whatever. But the one after Darren to me is Reading WinsDay, who is the wife of the deceased, the black man who shows up dead in this town and what starts all of this, whose name is Michael Wright. That's the black man who ends up dead in Lark. And he is, or she's now a widow because of that. And she kind of becomes his unlikely partner in this, because they're the only ones who, well, they're not the only ones, and I'll get into that, but they're like the ones who were really trying to figure out what happened and like want to solve this crime, solve this man's murder, not just write it off as like a robbery and just like get it to an end, just to close the case. They're the ones who, they really have a stake in this. They really care. So it kind of throws them together. And I liked their relationship. I thought they were really sweet. I actually was a little mad at Attica because both of these hoes had, whatever. Well, both of these people, they're like, Darren is married. Even though they are strange, they're going through some like, rough times right now. They're married and stuff. And then she was just like, Darren would be, he's like, I have this affection for her that I shouldn't have. I want to protect her, da 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 da. And they were cute. I was very mad at Attica for making them cute. I was like, how dare you make me an adulterer in my heart? In my heart, Attica? Ugh. But they were sweet. And I was like, both of these people have, well, not Randy anymore. And she was also kind of like on the rocks with Michael. But still, that's the principle of it. I was just like, ugh, how dare you be good at writing romance into this mystery like this? That's not what I came here for. That's not what I came here for. But she gave it to me anyway. And I was a little upset about that, but whatever. But yeah, they were both very likable, very like easy to root for. You want to solve the crime with them, like you care because they care and you like them. They're good people. So they were my favorite characters, obviously. And then like Sheriff Van Horn, that's the dude who's the sheriff of Lark. And he's interested in solving the crime, but like not really solving it. He more just like wants the case to be over and he wants it to be closed, He just wants to look like a good sheriff in a way. And he obviously like, he don't want to start too much trouble in his town. Like, he don't want it to be like, even though you have the Aryan Brotherhood of Texas up in this town, you want to be like, no, we don't. No, we don't. We ain't got no white supremacy here. And it's like, but baby, you do. Like, why are you lying? Why are you, stop lying, okay? You got some major hate up in this town, and you just gonna try to just look the other way, like that's what you're gonna do? It's stupid. But anyway, yeah, so Sheriff Van Horn, he was there. I don't know what to say of him. He's pretty basic, just like an ignorant white man, I'm just doing my job, but not really. Then the Lark residents, you have Keith Dale, who's like a suspect. You have Wally Jefferson, who's like comes from Old Wealth. You have Missy Dale, who is the white woman who ends up dead. Then you have like Isaac, who's just this random black dude who stays in Geneva's suites. diner. That's like the only black place in town, really, that all the black people go to. And then you have Geneva Sweet herself, which is like this black woman who's been here forever, you know, and runs the diner or whatever. Yeah, they were pretty, the Lark residents especially were like, these are kind of stereotypes. These are like caricatures of people. But I didn't have a problem with it because they were just like, they were just fleshed out enough for me to be like, but they're real, you know? And like I said, if you look at stereotypes, there's a drop of truth in every stereotype, then it's like, is it, I mean, I really do believe, like, if I went to a small Texas town, I could find each one of these people. I could find any of them there, you know? So how you can't be mad that they're not, like, unique when, I mean, when it's true, if it's true. I've never been to Texas. I've never been to Texas. Don't really have a desire to go, either. But anyway, overall, I think the characters who are meant to be likable are okay, and the ones you're meant to root for, you do. So I think the characters are a success. The characters are not like a weak point in Bluebird. So yeah, we gonna write that one off. They're good. And then so we're gonna go to the plot of Bluebird. I'm not gonna go into the specifics because I don't really want to spoil it if you do want to read it, and it's good. I think the mystery is like one of the strongest points of it, obviously. I think the mystery and how it was done was one of the strongest draws to Bluebird. So if you read it, I'm like, I don't want to spoil it for you know? Yeah, but once it picked up, I thought it was pretty riveting. Like, it was really dragging its feet in the beginning, and I was dragging my feet reading it because I really would say that after 100 pages, then it was interesting. Then it was riveting. And I don't like that. I don't like that. It gives the same energy as like, oh yeah, that show is so good. You just have to get past the first season. The entire first season? I have to get past the entire first season. Then maybe The Office really isn't that great, okay? Shut up. Like, it bothers me. I don't like it. I just feel like it should be good in the beginning. It should be good in the beginning, all right? But it took 100 pages for this to get interesting. And then after that, I was like, okay, we in it now. Okay, now we doing something. Now we actually investigating and things. So that is like, you know, you have to get here. You have to read all this before it got good, all right? Then I don't know why it was so slow in the beginning. But other than that, I feel like the plot was good. I feel like that's the weakest part about Bluebird is that it's kind of slow in the beginning. But other than that, I think it's good. That pacing part, it's upsetting, but it's not like, I don't know. It's not like, oh, it's a deal breaker. You know, like you could still, it's not hard. But I mean, 100 pages is a lot, isn't it? I say that, but then 100 pages is kind of 100 pages. 100 pages. It's nothing to sneeze at. So yeah, the mystery was satisfying as well as the plot twist that I won't spoil here. Like I liked how it unfolded, and it kind of reminded me of Cold Case, which is a favorite like nostalgic show of mine. So it was good. I liked it. The plot could have been better executed if it wasn't, you know, that slow pacing, but that's really my only qualm with it. There's not many weak spots in it for me. And I may not have liked how certain aspects of the plot, specifically how Geneva relates to the story and the crimes. You know, I didn't really like that aspect of it, but at the same time, I can't say it's not true. Because I'm pretty sure, I'm like, yeah, that is true. There's 1,000 stories like Geneva's in history that just haven't been told or were never documented because they weren't seen as important in the first place. So I can't really be mad at that, but I am because I just don't like it. It's weird. And then I have to say too that this book is told in like third person omniscient, I think, yeah. Because I said that weird the first time, I think, and whatever. But yeah, third person that, and I don't really like that point of view, okay? So that might be also why I thought it was so slow in the beginning. You know, maybe if you like that perspective, then it wouldn't be as slow. It won't feel as slow to you as it was to me, but it definitely felt slow to me. Yeah. But yeah, besides the pacing, I'd say the plot was handled expertly, especially in how Locke uncovers the mystery and, has Darren solve the crime. It all makes sense. None of it is like, Darren is like a realistic detective, you know, an investigator. Like, there's nothing where it's like Sherlock Holmes, mind palace foolishness. There's not that, not that I'm dissing Sherlock Holmes and his mind palace or whatever, but it's not like that. Like, he takes you along each step and everything makes sense. Like, you're staying right up there with him as he figures it out, and that was good. So, yeah. That's all I have to say on the plot, and now we're going to get into the themes of Bluebird, which I will lay out first as racism / white supremacy and family / loyalty. Okay, so those, we could say, like, we could break that into 4, but I'm just going to do it as 2. Okay, racism, white supremacy, family, loyalty. Okay, so we're going to go with racism first. Okay, racism serves, I think, as more of a backdrop and a sounding board for the other themes. Like, it brings the other themes into, like, higher focus, or, like, better, you know, higher definition, better focus. There. Okay, yeah, it just makes those, like, more important. But, and, like, I say that because Locke doesn't really give her own commentary on racism. I think she really just lays it out for you as fact, like, yeah, this is stuff that happens in Texas, that would happen in Texas, and you're kind of left to just draw your own conclusions. And I think that's when racism is, like, it's the most poignant, when it's just, you have the facts itself, like just the fact that this happens, and then you just have to sit with that knowledge. And the fact that she gives you the space to do that, she doesn't spoon feed you like her commentary, like, racism is wrong, this is awful, da 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 da. She doesn't do all that, and she treats it with subtlety, and I think that lets the ugliness speak for itself. Okay, like, she just keeps it very simple. Like, the Aryan Brotherhood is present, okay, and so there's like I guess spoil one scene or some scenes, but there's a point in the investigation where Darren goes to this ice, what was it, like the ice, something ice, it's not an ice pick, but it's like an ice hut or something, and it's like a bar, and it's kind of the white supremacist hotspot, and it's like, okay, and there's a dude there who's like the bartender or the bouncer or whatever. He's not a bouncer, but he's some big beefy white supremacist guy, and he's basically like, he's like telling Darren that, or he threatens him, saying that his murder could serve as an initiation for Keith Dale, who's the suspect Dale, like, he was trying to question at the time. Okay, so they basically just, like, he just alludes to his murder in front of him, you know, like, he's not a person, like, he's not there, and if he is there, he's not worthy of, like, actually being spoken to, you know. And like, there's no, it's, of course, there's no commentary after this. This is just like, she just lays out the scene for you, and then you're left to just interpret that. Okay, and then Keith Dale, he also calls Darren the N-word and stuff, and Van Horn, the sheriff himself, almost says it as well. You know, it's like something they don't even see as offensive. They don't see it offensive as saying that slur. You know, it's obvious, like, if Darren wasn't there, they would have said it, you know? That just casual disrespect and disregard for black people, it's there. So then, like, Darren treats this racism and white supremacy in his beloved state as like a fact of life, and something that is wrong but still exists. Something that, like, even though it is wrong and it shouldn't be allowed, I still have to put up with it because it's just how things are here. Okay, and that, like, he also, like, his defiance is his very existence as, like, a black Texas Ranger, as someone who's serving the state, you know, and finding, like, the truth behind all these crimes, doing his job as a black man. That in itself is defiance, you know, against their hatred, against their, like, white supremacist ideology. I am here and I'm not leaving. I'm doing my job. I'm living my life. I'm thriving, actually. And that's in opposition to everything you stand for and everything you want, you know? But yeah, so this, like, it makes the existence of racism and white supremacy, like, even sadder, because I think it kind of reduced it to what it is, basically. It's like just this hatred of people who are different than you, just living on the planet with you, like, just living side by side with you, like, that hatred of them, just because you don't like them. It's so weird, like, I can't wrap my head around it, you know? I'm just like, that's so strange. It's such a strange idea to me. I'm just like, dang. There's like, just like, there's so many white supremacy groups too, it's almost laughable. Like, the Aryan Brotherhood of Texas is what's in this book specifically. But then you have, like, the alt-right now, and then you have, like, Good Old Boys, and then you have, like, so I know there's others, something with Kings, something da-da-da-da-da. But it's like, why are there so many white supremacy groups? And it's not like it's a common thing. It's not like there's black supremacy groups and Asian supremacy groups. No one else is doing that. No one else is doing that. It's so weird. It's so weird. But anyway, in this, I think that Locke's lack of commentary about this and her simply just laying it out as like, oh yeah, this exists in America, this exists in Texas specifically, it makes it even sadder. It just makes it like you just realize how ridiculous it is to just be angry at someone for not fitting your agenda, for not fitting, I don't know, your expectations, and like they're just living their lives and that angers you. That's weird. You know, and it's sad, but it's really sad. Yeah. So I thought she handled that really well. I liked that she didn't shove it down your throat, you know, that racism is bad. She just gave you the facts so that you'd come to your own conclusions about it. You know, like it's like obviously if you saw that scene and then you came out of it being like, yeah, but white supremacy isn't that bad, then you know that's a you problem. That's a you problem, you know? So anyway, but yeah, I thought that theme was served really well, or, you know, executed well. I thought she did it justice. Yeah, with the complexity of it. Anyway, and then so the other theme of family and loyalty, this comes into play with Darren's defiance, his sense of defiance, like, why don't you just leave Texas? If it's that racist, why don't you just leave? He's like, no, his family instilled in him this belief that, you know, this state is as much of their home as it is anyone else's, and they don't have the right to run them out of here. Like, it's not the slave times no more. I'm gonna stay here. I'm gonna live my life. I'm gonna go to my job. I'm gonna get money. I'm gonna buy my own house. I'm gonna have, you know, land. I don't care. I'm gonna live my life, and you can't get me to leave. You have a right to whatever, be all that as hateful as you want. I have a life to live, you know, to do me, and I like that. And I was like, that's what drove Darren, like, as like the Matthews were all like, we ain't leaving, you can hate all you want, but we gonna be here, you know. And that's how he kind of lived his life, and just the same amount of pride he had towards being a Texas Ranger and being a Texas man, you know. But you have the flip side of that, like, same sense of family can instill hatred for others, you know, like that same sense of family and misguided loyalty too. Like Darren's and the Matthews, they have this loyalty to like Texas and this land, you know, for some reason, like, we've been here for years, we're not gonna leave. They have this loyalty towards this place. And then like you could have these white people who have a loyalty, I guess, to each other. And then, you know, if your family's racist and you maybe just go along with that, I don't know, and that somehow leads you to becoming a white supremacist, which is just mind-boggling to me. I won't even try to go into that, but yeah. Yeah, so I was just, it's interesting, like, you just have those dual things, like both sense of family, both these ties can lead to such different outcomes, such different perspectives of life, you know. But yeah, it's also, family is also at the heart of the crime, because like, and I can't really go into it further, like, because I would just spoil everything, but there's like affairs and there's betrayal and it's messy. There's some messy stuff up in here. Messy. Okay. So it's kind of like the whole town is family in a way as well. But yeah, so that was the other theme of Bluebird, and I would say that overall, that the way that Locke handles these themes is very subtle. You know, they aren't hammered into you. And that allows them to stand out on their own. She doesn't spoon feed you, and you're just allowed to come to your own conclusions and to really like marinate with everything that she's given you. And I like that. So I think that she handled the themes very well in Bluebird of like racism, white supremacy, loyalty, and family, and how they all come together and interconnect. I like that. I think she did a really good job. And so finally, we're on our last one, takeaway, what the author's intentions versus what I actually got, okay? And so this is just a guess, because I feel like maybe in the future I'll do this better, like where I'll look up like author interviews or something and articles about the work. But for now, I'm just gonna guess what I think Attica Locke's intention was with writing Bluebird, which I think is to say racism is not black and white, and it's not very simple, as you would think it would be in a small old Texas town. You know, it's like, oh yeah, of course they racist. You could just leave it at that, but it's still not that simple. And I agree with that notion. I agree that racism and like white supremacy are a mixture of ugly and negative human conditions. Okay, like I think Bluebird really executed that well, like the complexity of racism and what leads to what leads to it and white supremacy. Like there's a combination of just envy and disgust and paranoia and insecurity, you know, that would lead people to such hateful outlooks on life, on others, on their fellow human beings, you know. And I thought Bluebird did a good job of illustrating that point, and at the very least, like leading to a conversation where that conclusion can be made. So, yeah, if anything, like it leads to a good conversation, and that's important. Conversations are really good, at least about these subjects. The conversations about them, it's very important to have. It's really the only way we talk through things, you know, how we communicate and get to better places of understanding regarding them. So, yeah, I really like Bluebird. I gave it 3 stars, and I'm still kind of like, should I give it 4? Because did I really like it? I'm really not sure. Like, I liked it, but I just don't know if I don't think I liked it that much. And I think if I'm waffling like that, then I didn't really like it. But it was good, and I am going to read the second one, you know, Heaven My Home. So, yeah. And I think I also will, like, try to read maybe more of Attica Locke. I'm not really sure though, because I read a little bit of her other thing, which is just like a black man who is a lawyer, and I felt like the voice wasn't that different, which I'm just like, I don't like that. And I think she's still writing, she prefers third person omniscient, and I'm not, so I'm not about that life, so we don't know. But anyway, yeah, that was my review for Bluebird. I did give it 3 stars. I think I'll stick with that. But yeah, I liked it. It was good, and I am going to continue the series, so yeah. Anyway, thank you for watching, sticking with it if you did. You know, this has been Sketchbooks and Bookbooks. Go read a book. Have some thoughtsy-watsy. Share them. If you read Bluebird, you know, leave a comment below. I would love to talk about it a little more, you know. Yeah, and whoever, like, requested this review, I hope I did it justice, and I hope, you know, you're like, that's what I wanted. Yeah, okay, so I'm gonna go now. Bye.